Deep within the desolate woods of Ravenshadow Forest, where ancient trees whispered secrets and the shadows seemed to dance with a life of their own, there stood a lone cabin. Its weathered exterior bore the scars of time, its windows shattered and boarded up, giving it an eerie appearance that sent shivers down the spine of anyone who dared to approach. Legend had it that the cabin was once home to a reclusive woodsman who dabbled in dark arts, summoning spirits from the depths of the forest to do his bidding. But when his experiments went awry, the cabin became cursed, trapping the souls of both the living and the dead within its walls. As night fell over Ravenshadow Forest, a group of unsuspecting teenagers ventured into the woods, seeking adventure and thrills. Among them was Sarah, a curious and fearless girl who had always been drawn to the mysteries of the supernatural. With flashlights in hand, they made their way through the dense undergrowth, their laughter echoing through the darkness. But as they approached the cabin, their mirth turned to unease, the air thick with an oppressive sense of dread. Ignoring their instincts, they pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside, the musty smell of decay assaulting their senses. Shadows danced across the walls as they explored the dilapidated interior, their footsteps echoing ominously in the silence. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced the stillness, sending panic coursing through their veins. They stumbled through the darkness, their hearts pounding with fear, until they found themselves in a room bathed in an otherworldly glow. There, standing in the center of the room, was the ghostly figure of the woodsman, his eyes blazing with unholy light. With a chilling laugh, he beckoned them closer, his voice dripping with malice. Terrified, they tried to flee, but the cabin seemed to twist and contort around them, trapping them in its malevolent grasp. As the walls closed in around them, they realized too late the true horror of Ravenshadow Cabin. For in the heart of the forest, where the veil between the living and the dead was thinnest, the spirits of the damned reigned supreme, their thirst for vengeance eternal. And so, as the last echoes of their screams faded into the night, Ravenshadow Cabin claimed yet another group of unfortunate souls, adding their tormented voices to its ever-growing chorus of despair. In the heart of the bustling city of London, amidst the towering skyscrapers and bustling streets, there stood an old, abandoned underground station. Its name had long been forgotten, buried beneath layers of dust and decay, but to those who dared to venture into its depths, it was known simply as the Forgotten Station. Legend had it that the station was closed decades ago after a series of mysterious disappearances and unexplained accidents plagued its platforms. But as the years went by, the truth behind its closure faded into obscurity, and it became little more than a ghostly relic of the past. One fateful night, a group of thrill-seeking teenagers decided to explore the abandoned station, drawn by the allure of its dark and mysterious past. Among them was Alex, a brave and adventurous soul who had always been fascinated by the unknown. Armed with flashlights and a sense of excitement, they descended into the depths of the underground, their footsteps echoing eerily in the silence. The air was thick with the musty smell of decay as they made their way through the labyrinthine tunnels, their hearts pounding with anticipation. But as they ventured deeper into the station, they began to sense that they were not alone. Shadows danced in the corners of their vision, and strange whispers echoed through the darkness, sending chills down their spines. Ignoring their growing unease, they pressed on, their curiosity driving them forward. But as they reached the end of the tunnel, they were met with a sight that chilled them to the bone. There, standing in the center of the platform, was a figure cloaked in darkness, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. With a voice like ice, it whispered their names, beckoning them closer with a cold and unearthly charm. Terrified, they tried to flee, but the tunnel seemed to shift and twist around them, trapping them in a nightmarish maze. Desperate to escape, they raced through the darkness, their hearts pounding with fear. But no matter which way they turned, they found themselves face to face with the figure, its presence looming over them like a specter of death. And as they stared into its soulless eyes, They realized too late the true horror of the forgotten station. For in the depths of its abandoned tunnels, where the light of day could not reach, ancient forces stirred, hungering for the souls of the living. And as the last echoes of their screams faded into the darkness, the forgotten station claimed yet another group of unfortunate souls, adding their voices to its ever-growing chorus of despair.